2 years after the first shot was fired at Earth, the war ended not with a great battle, but with a simple message broadcast across the galaxy. This is Captain Taimin of Earth, speaking to all species in the galaxy. The Valthran Empire has surrendered. The Galactic Council has been dissolved. All beings are now free. The message was heard on thousands of worlds where alien species had lived under Council rule for centuries. On some planets, there was celebration. On others, there was fear. Many species did not know how to live without someone telling them what to do. The Valthran Empire had not been destroyed. It had simply collapsed from within. Without their advanced technology working properly, without communication between their worlds, without the ability to move supplies and troops, the Empire had fallen apart like a machine with all its parts, scattered. Commander Velthar sat in a small room on a human space station, waiting to sign the surrender documents. He looked very different from the proud warrior who had first captured Taimin. His armor was gone, replaced by simple clothes. His ship was destroyed, his crew scattered across the galaxy. "I don't understand," he said to Taimin, who sat across from him at a simple metal table. "How did you know? When we first met, how did you know this would happen?" Taimin thought about the question. Around them, the space station buzzed with activity. Humans and aliens worked together, rebuilding communication networks and organizing supply shipments to worlds that had been cut off during the war. "I didn't know exactly how it would happen," Taimin replied honestly. "But I knew it would happen, somehow." "How could you be so certain?" "Because of what you represented," Taimin explained. "You were an empire that controlled people through fear and superior technology. You had been winning for so long that you forgot how to deal with real resistance." He leaned forward. "But more than that, you made the same mistake that every empire in human history has made. You assumed that everyone wanted to be ruled by someone else. You never considered that some species might prefer freedom, even if freedom was dangerous." Through the window, they could see ships from dozens of different species arriving at the station. Former council worlds were sending representatives to discuss what would come next. "What happens now?" Velthar asked. "Now we build something better," Taimin said. The new government was called the Terran Commonwealth, but it was not controlled by humans. Representatives from 47 different species met in a great assembly hall built in orbit around Earth. The hall was designed so that every species could attend comfortably, with different areas for beings who breathed different gases or needed different temperatures. The Commonwealth Charter was based on ideas that humans had been developing for centuries: individual rights, democratic government, and the belief that all intelligent beings deserved freedom and respect. Not every species joined immediately. Some were afraid, others preferred to remain isolated. But many of the worlds that had been oppressed by the Council signed the Charter eagerly. Former Councilor Zeftos was one of the first to join. His crystalline hegemony had switched sides early in the war when they realized that humans were going to win. He approached Taimin after the first Commonwealth Assembly meeting. "I must ask you something that has been bothering me for 2 years, the crystal being said. "What's that?" "When you first spoke to our council, when you told us about human history and said you were coming to the stars, did you plan all of this? Did you know the war would happen?" Taimin walked to a large window that looked out at space. Hundreds of ships from different species were docked at the station. Humans and aliens worked together on construction projects, scientific research, and trade agreements. "Planet? No," he said finally. "But I knew it was possible. You see, Counselor, you made one crucial mistake in your thinking about humanity." "Which was?" "You thought we were like every other species you had encountered. You thought we would be impressed by your power and accept your rule." Taimin smiled, the same calm smile that had started everything. "But humans have spent our entire history fighting against anyone who tried to rule us without our permission." He pointed to the scene outside the window. "We have a saying on Earth, 'Give me liberty or give me death.' We really mean it. We would rather die fighting for freedom than live safely as slaves." Zeftos's crystal body flickered with different colors as he processed this. "So you knew we would try to conquer you? I hoped you would be wiser than that," Taimin replied. But yes, I expected you might try, and I knew that if you did, you would lose. How could you be so confident? Tae-min turned from the window to face the alien counselor. Because empires always lose in the end. They get too big, too comfortable, too sure of their own power. They forget that the people they rule are not objects to be controlled, but living beings with their own hopes and dreams. He gestured toward the Commonwealth Assembly Hall, where representatives from dozens of species were working together to write laws that would protect everyone's rights. But freedom is different. Freedom grows stronger when it's shared. Every species that joins the Commonwealth makes all of us more free, not less. In the months that followed, the Commonwealth grew rapidly. Former Council worlds discovered that they could trade freely, explore space without permission, and govern themselves according to their own values and traditions. Human ships explored new regions of the galaxy, but they were not conquest fleets. They were science vessels, trade missions, and diplomatic expeditions. When they found new species, they offered friendship and partnership, not submission. The galaxy had been transformed, where once there had been an empire that ruled through fear. Now there was a community of equals working together. Where once there had been a rigid hierarchy with the council at the top, now there were thousands of independent worlds cooperating because they chose to. Captain Tae-min stood on the bridge of his new ship, the New Horizon. It was much larger than his old exploration vessel, and it carried a crew of humans and aliens working together. They were heading toward a distant star system where radio signals suggested the presence of another intelligent species. "Captain," said his communications officer, an alien with 6 arms and blue skin, "we're receiving signals from the target system. It looks like they're trying to communicate." Tae-min nodded. "Send them a message. Tell them we come in peace, that we're explorers from the Terran Commonwealth and that we'd like to meet them." "And if they're hostile, sir?" Tae-min thought about all the changes that had happened since he first met the Velthrons. The galaxy was a very different place. Now, there was still conflict, still problems to solve, still challenges to face, but there was also hope, freedom, and the knowledge that no one had to face those challenges alone. "Then we'll deal with that when it happens," he said. "But let's assume they're reasonable beings who want the same things we do, to explore, to learn, and to live their lives in peace." The New Horizon continued toward the unknown star system. Behind them, the Commonwealth grew stronger every day, adding new members who chose freedom over security, cooperation over domination. The age of empires was over. The age of partnership had begun. And humanity, the species that no one could handle, had given the galaxy something it had never had before, a chance for everyone to be free. The alarm bells rang through the medical station like angry wasps. Red lights flashed in every hallway of Nexus Prima, the biggest hospital in space. Dr. Vextar lifted his 4 arms and moved fast down the white corridor. His blue skin looked darker under the red emergency lights. "What do we have?" he asked in his deep voice. Nurse Helsia ran beside him, her green tentacles holding a data pad. "Human male, age 34. His name is Kim Tae-ho. Transport ship hit by plasma storm near Vega system. Bad radiation poisoning. Very bad." Dr. Vexitar made a clicking sound with his mouth. Humans were always getting into trouble. They flew their ships into dangerous places where smarter species would never go. But they kept trying even when it killed them. The emergency room doors opened with a hiss. Inside, other doctors and nurses moved around a metal table. On the table lay a human man. His skin was pale and covered with dark marks from radiation burns. Machines beeped all around him, showing numbers that made Dr. Vextar's hearts sink. "How long since the accident?" Dr. Vextar asked. 4 hours, said Dr. Morden, another Kalani like Vextar. He was floating in space for 2 hours before rescue found him. His ship was completely destroyed. Dr. Vextar looked at the human's face. The man was unconscious, but his face showed pain even in sleep. Humans always looked so small and weak compared to other species. Their bodies broke so easily. "Start the cell repair treatment," Dr. Vextar ordered. "Give him the strongest medicine we have for radiation. Check his brain activity. The medical team moved like a dance they had done many times before. Machines hummed to life. Blue light washed over the human's body as the cell repair system started working. Needles went into his arms, pumping healing medicine into his blood. For 1 hour they worked, then 2 hours, then 3. "Doctor," Nurse Helzia said quietly. "His organs are shutting down." Dr. Vexitar looked at the screens. The human's heart was beating too slow. His liver was failing. His kidneys had stopped working. Worst of all, his brain showed almost no activity. "Try the neural stimulator," Dr. Vexitar said. They put electrodes on the human's head. Electric signals tried to wake up his brain, but the screen stayed almost flat. "Doctor?" Dr. Morden said. "We have tried everything. Our best medicine, our best machines. Nothing is working." Dr. Vexitar stared at the human. Kim Tae-ho looked peaceful now, like he was just sleeping. But the machines told a different story. Every number was wrong. Every reading showed a body that was dying. "His radiation levels are too high," Dr. Morden continued. "The plasma storm damaged every cell in his body. Even if we could fix his organs, his brain is too damaged. He cannot survive this." Around the room, the other doctors and nurses waited. They had all seen many patients die. It was part of working in space where danger was everywhere. But Dr. Vexitar always felt sad when they lost someone, especially humans. Humans tried so hard to live, even when their bodies were weak. "Doctor?" Nurse Helzia asked softly. Dr. Vexitar closed his large eyes for a moment. In his long life, he had saved thousands of patients, but he had also lost many. This human was too damaged. His injuries were beyond what any medicine could fix. "Time of death," Dr. Vexitar said in a heavy voice. 1,500 hours. Station time. The machine stopped beeping. The room became quiet except for the soft hum of air recycling. Dr. Morden turned off the life support systems. Nurse Helzia covered the human's body with a white sheet. "I will file the death report," Dr. Morden said. "Should we contact his family on Earth?" Dr. Vexitar nodded slowly. "Yes. Tell them he died trying to help others. His ship was carrying medical supplies to the colony on Vega 7. He was a good man." The other doctors and nurses left the room quietly. This was always the hardest part of their job. Dr. Vexitar stayed behind looking at the covered body. Humans were strange to him. They lived such short lives compared to other species. Kalani like him could live for 300 years. Humans barely lived for 100 years and most died much younger. But in their short lives, they did amazing things. They explored dangerous places. They helped others even when it put them in danger. They never gave up, even when giving up made sense. "You tried hard," Dr. Vexitar said to the still form under the sheet. "Your species always tries hard." He walked to his office and sat behind his desk. The death report appeared on his computer screen. He typed in the details. Severe radiation poisoning, multiple organ failure, brain death, cause of death, plasma storm exposure. He had written many reports like this before, but something bothered him about this case. The human had survived for 4 hours in space after his ship was destroyed. Most species would have died in minutes. How had Kim Tae-ho lasted so long? Dr. Vexitar pulled up the human's medical scans on his computer. The radiation damage was terrible, worse than anything he had seen before, but in some areas the damage looked strange, like the human's body had been trying to fix itself. "Impossible," he said to himself. Kalani were the best doctors in the galaxy. They had studied medicine for thousands of years. They knew how. Every species in the galaxy healed from injuries. Humans healed slowly and poorly compared to most species. They could not survive injuries that other species recovered from easily. But these scans showed something different. In tiny areas of Kim Tae-ho's body, new cells were growing. Not enough to save him, but still growing even as he died. Dr. Vexitar shook his head. He was seeing things that were not there. The human was dead. His body was now in the morgue, waiting for transport back to Earth. That was the end of the story. He finished the death report and sent it to the Galactic Medical Council. Then he went back to his other patients. Space was dangerous, and there were always more injured people to help. In the morgue, 3 levels below, Kim Tae-ho's body lay on a cold metal table. Machines kept the room at the right temperature. Everything was quiet and still. But if someone had looked very closely at the readings from the body scanner, they might have noticed something strange. Deep inside the human's chest, one machine was still showing tiny signs of activity. So tiny that it was almost invisible. Almost invisible, but not completely zero. The human was dead according to all the best medical knowledge in the galaxy, but his body did not seem to know that yet. 3 days passed quietly on Nexus Prima. Dr. Vextar worked with other patients, but he kept thinking about the human who had died. Kim Tae-ho's body was still in the morgue, waiting for a transport ship to take him back to Earth. Yulkan was the morgue worker on the night shift. He was a small gray alien with big eyes who did not like talking to others. His job was simple: keep the dead bodies cold and safe until their families came for them. At 2 a.m, Yulkan walked through the quiet morgue. His footsteps echoed in the cold room. Rows of metal tables held bodies covered with white sheets. Most were empty, but 5 tables had bodies waiting to go home. Yulkan checked his tablet. Everything looked normal. All the cooling systems worked fine. All the body temperatures were correct. But when he looked at table number 7, where the human lay, something was wrong. The temperature reading was higher than it should be. That is strange, Yulkan said to himself. He walked over to the table and checked the cooling system. Everything looked fine. Maybe the machine was broken. He would have to call the repair team in the morning. But then he noticed something else. The body scanner that watched each table was showing readings that made no sense. The human's body was supposed to be completely dead. No heartbeat, no brain activity, no cellular function. But the scanner showed tiny amounts of activity. Very tiny, but there. Yulkan stared at the numbers on his tablet. This was impossible. He had worked in the morgue for 20 years. Dead bodies did not show any activity at all. The machines must be broken. He decided to do a manual check. Yulkan pulled back the white sheet covering the human's face. Kim Tae-ho looked the same as 3 days ago. Pale skin, closed eyes, peaceful expression. But when Yulkan put his hand near the human's mouth, he felt something that made his heart stop. Warm air. Very faint, but warm air was coming from the human's nose. No, 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 Yulkan whispered. This cannot be. He grabbed a small mirror from his toolkit and held it under the human's nose. After a few seconds, the mirror showed tiny drops of water. The human was breathing. Barely breathing, but breathing. Yulkan dropped the mirror and ran from the morgue. His feet slipped on the smooth floor as he rushed to find Dr. Vextar. Meanwhile, in the space between sleeping and waking, Kim Tae-ho was aware of many things. He could hear voices talking about him. He could feel the cold metal table under his back. But he could not move or speak or open his eyes. His real name was not Kim Tae-ho. His real name was Park Jae-sung, and he had many secrets. He had been a soldier once, a medic in the Korean army during Earth's first war with aliens from the Tau system. He had seen terrible things in that war. He had done terrible things too. When the war ended, Jae-sung could not go back to his old life. The memories were too painful. So he took the identity of a dead man named Kim Tae-ho and became a transport pilot. Flying alone in space was better than living with his memories on Earth. But now, lying in this morgue, Jae-sung remembered everything. He remembered the plasma storm hitting his ship. He remembered the pain as radiation burned through his body. He remembered dying, and he remembered something else. Something that happened during the war that he had tried to forget. During a battle, on Tau 3, Jae-sung had been hit by an alien weapon that should have killed him instantly. Other soldiers who were hit by the same weapon died immediately. But Jae-sung had survived. More than survived. After 3 days of being unconscious, he had woken up stronger than before. The army doctors had run many tests on him. They found changes in his body that they could not explain. His bones were denser. His muscles were stronger. His blood carried oxygen better. But the doctors told him to keep it secret. They said other people might be scared if they knew. Now, as he lay in the alien morgue, Jae-sung felt the same changes happening again. His body was rebuilding itself cell by cell. It was slow and painful, but it was working. He could hear the alien doctors talking outside the morgue. They were confused and scared. "Dr. Vextar, you must see this," Yulkin was saying. "The human is not dead, he is breathing." "That is impossible," Dr. Vextar replied. "I declared him dead myself. His brain showed no activity. His heart had stopped. Come and see for yourself." Jae-sung heard footsteps entering the morgue. Many footsteps. Dr. Vextar was not alone. "Show me," Dr. Vextar said. Jae-sung felt someone pull the sheet away from his face. Cool air touched his skin. Bright lights made the inside of his eyelids glow red. "Impossible," Dr. Vextar whispered. "Look at the body scanner," another voice said. "Dr. Morden. His cellular activity is increasing. His brain is showing alpha waves. His heart rate is 5 beats per minute." "Run a full medical scan," Dr. Vextar ordered. "I want to know everything about what is happening to this human." Machines hummed to life around Jae-sung. He felt warm light washing over his body as the scanners worked. The results must have been shocking, because the room became very quiet. "This is beyond our understanding," Dr. Morden said finally. "His radiation levels are dropping without treatment. His organs are regenerating. His brain activity is returning to normal patterns." "How is this possible?" asked a new voice. Female. "Probably Nurse Helsia." "I do not know," Dr. Vextar admitted. "In 300 years of medicine, I have never seen anything like this. No species in the galaxy can survive clinical death and return to life." "What should we do?" Dr. Morden asked. "We study him," Dr. Vextar said. "This could change everything. We know about biology and medicine. Contact the Galactic Medical Council immediately. They need to know about this." Jae-sung listened to their conversation and felt worried. He did not want to be studied like a lab animal. He needed to wake up and get away from this place, but his body was still too weak to move. "Move him to intensive care," Dr. Vextar continued. "I want him monitored every second. If he continues to recover, we need to be ready." "Dr. Vextar," Nurse Helsia said quietly, "should we contact his family? Tell them he might be alive?" "Not yet," Dr. Vextar replied. "We do not understand what is happening. He might die again. We wait until we know more." As they moved his body to a new room, Jae-sung made a decision. When he was strong enough, he would leave this place. These aliens meant well, but they did not understand humans. They did not understand that some things were better left secret. In the new room, surrounded by beeping machines and watching eyes, Jae-sung continued his slow return to life. But now he knew he was not just recovering from death. He was changing into something more than human, and that scared him more than dying had. Nexus Prima like hungry wolves. Jae-sung could see through the shuttle bay windows that these ships were wrong somehow. They looked human-made, but twisted. Parts of them seemed to bend and shift in ways that hurt to look at. "Everyone get down," Jae-sung shouted. The first attack hit the station's shields with a sound like thunder. The lights flickered and the floor shook under their feet. Emergency announcements echoed through the halls in different alien languages. Dr. Lee Min-ju grabbed his arm. "We need to get off this station now. When the Void Collective attacks, they do not leave survivors." "What are they?" Kodaewon asked. He was helping Yu Jin stay on her feet as the station shook again. "Humans," Min-ju said grimly. "But not like us. They come from somewhere else. Somewhere dark." Through the communication speakers, they heard Dr. Vextar's voice. "All medical staff to emergency stations. Prepare for wounded. Security teams to defensive positions." Jae-sung looked around the shuttle bay. There were several small ships, but most needed codes to start. However, his enhanced senses could hear something the others could not. Footsteps running toward them. "Company coming," he warned. A squad of alien security guards burst through the doors, but they were not there to capture the humans. Their leader, a tall blue alien, looked panicked. "You," he pointed at Jae-sung. "The human who cannot die. We need your help." "Help with what?" Jae-sung asked. The attackers. They are like you. They keep coming back after we kill them. Our weapons do nothing permanent. Another explosion rocked the station. Through the windows they could see small fighter ships breaking away from the larger vessels. These fighters were heading straight for the docking bays. They want to board the station, Minju said. Once they get inside, everyone here will die. Jae-sung made a decision. Get me to the weapons room, I will help defend this place. The security leader looked surprised. You will help us? Even after what we did to your people? Those things out there are not my people, Jae-sung said firmly. And there are innocent people on this station. Dr. Vextar appeared in the doorway, breathing heavily. The Void Collective has broken through our outer defenses. They will dock in 10 minutes. Doctor, Jae-sung said, I need you to do something for me. Take these 3 humans to safety. Lock them in the most secure room you have. What about you? Yujin asked. She was young, but her eyes were brave. I am going to buy us time, Jae-sung replied. The first Void Collective fighters crashed through the shuttle bay doors in a shower of metal and sparks. Jae-sung got his first close look at the enemy. They looked human, but wrong. Their skin was pale gray. Their eyes were completely black. They moved too fast and too smoothly, like they were floating instead of walking. When the station's security forces shot them, they fell down, but after a few seconds they stood up again. They heal like you do, Dr. Vextar whispered. No, Jae-sung said, watching carefully. They come back, but they do not heal. Look at the wounds. Dr. Vextar looked closer and gasped. The Void Collective soldiers had bullet holes and energy burns on their bodies, but they kept fighting anyway. They felt no pain and showed no emotion. They are already dead, Minju realized. They are corpses that keep moving. More Void Collective soldiers poured into the shuttle bay. The station's defenders were falling back, unable to stop enemies that would not stay down. Jae-sung picked up an energy rifle from a fallen guard. Doctor, get the others out of here. Now. What are you going to do? Dr. Vextar asked. Something stupid, Jae-sung admitted. He ran straight at the nearest group of Void Collective soldiers. His enhanced speed and strength let him move faster than they expected. But when he shot them, they kept getting back up, just like before. However, Jae-sung noticed something important. When he hit them very hard enough to break bones or damage their bodies badly, they took longer to get back up, and if he completely destroyed their heads or hearts, they stayed down. Aim for the head or heart, he shouted to the defending aliens. Complete destruction only. The battle moved through the station's corridors. Jae-sung found himself fighting alongside aliens who had been his captors just hours before. Dr. Morden appeared with a medical team, dragging wounded defenders to safety. Even Nurse Helzia was there, using her tentacles to operate 3 different medical scanners at once, but the Void Collective kept coming. For every soldier they destroyed, 2 more took its place. And worse, Jae-sung could hear more ships approaching outside. In the middle of the fighting, something unexpected happened. One of the Void Collective soldiers spoke to Jae-sung in perfect Korean. Brother, the dead-eyed soldier said, why do you fight us? We are the same. We are nothing alike. Jae-sung replied, smashing the soldier's head with the butt of his rifle. But the soldier's words bothered him. How did it know Korean? How did it know to call him brother? The answer came when more Void Collective soldiers surrounded him. Their leader was a tall woman who looked almost normal except for her black eyes and gray skin. Park Jae-sung, she said in a voice like winter wind. We have been looking for you. How do you know my name? Because I am you, she replied. I am Park Jae-sung from a different world, a world where Earth fell to alien invasion 50 years ago. Jae-sung stared at her in shock. She continued talking while her soldiers held their weapons ready. In my world, humans developed the resurrection ability to survive constant war, but it came with a price. Each time we died and came back, we lost a piece of our humanity. Now we are more dead than alive. That is impossible, Jae-sung said. Is it? You died and came back stronger. How many times can you do that before you become like us? before you lose your soul completely? The station shook again as more Void Collective ships arrived. Through the windows, Jae-sung could see dozens of dark vessels surrounding Nexus Prima. We are not here to destroy this station, the other Jae-sung continued. We are here to collect you and the other humans. Our species needs fresh genetic material to stay strong. I will never help you. You will not have a choice. The Void Collective soldiers raised their weapons. But before they could fire, Dr. Vextar appeared behind them with a group of heavily armed station security. Get away from him, Dr. Vextar shouted. The battle began again, more fierce than before, but now Jae-sung understood what they were really fighting. The Void Collective was not just an enemy, it was a warning. It showed what humans could become if they used their resurrection ability too much. As he fought, Jae-sung made a promise to himself. He would find a way to stop the Void Collective, but he would do it without becoming like them. He would stay human, no matter what. The battle for Nexus Prima reached its peak in the station's main medical bay. Jae-sung fought back-to-back with Dr. Vextar and the alien security forces against waves of Void Collective soldiers. The gray-skinned enemies kept coming, no matter how many times they were shot down. We cannot hold them much longer, Dr. Vextar panted. His blue skin was covered with sweat, and his forearms moved frantically as he fired his weapon. Jae-sung looked around at the chaos. The medical station was being torn apart. Wounded aliens lay everywhere. The smell of burning metal and alien blood filled the air. But something was bothering him about this attack. They are not trying to destroy the station, he realized. They are hurting us somewhere. Dr. Morden, who was treating wounded soldiers nearby, looked up. What do you mean? Look at their movement pattern. They push us back, but they do not finish us off. They want us alive. As if responding to his words, the Void Collective soldiers suddenly stopped attacking. They formed a circle around the surviving defenders, but kept their weapons lowered. The silence felt more dangerous than the fighting had. The other Park Jae-sung, the one with dead black eyes, walked through the circle of soldiers. Behind her came more Void Collective troops, but these were different. They looked less human and more like machines made of flesh and metal. You are learning, she said to Jae-sung. Good. Intelligence will help you survive what comes next. What do you want? Dr. Vextar demanded. Not what. Who? She pointed at Jae-sung. Him and the other humans you have been experimenting on. Dr. Vextar's face showed shame. The experiments were for medical research. To help people. No, the dead Jae-sung replied. The experiments were to create weapons. The Galactic Medical Council told you to study humans because they knew we were coming. They wanted to build an army of resurrection soldiers. Jae-sung felt like he had been hit in the stomach. Is that true, Doctor? Dr. Vextar could not meet his eyes. The council said you were humanity's future, that your ability could save billions of lives across the galaxy. By torturing innocent people, Dr. Lee Minju said. She had appeared from one of the side corridors with Ko Dae-won and Yu Jin. All three looked weak but determined. The dead Jae-sung smiled, showing teeth that were too sharp. You see, this is why we had to come, to save you from their lies. You call this saving? Jae-sung gestured at the destroyed medical bay and the wounded aliens. This is mercy, she replied. In my reality, the aliens did not stop with experiments. They bred humans like animals. They created millions of resurrection soldiers and sent them to die in endless wars. Most humans in my world are more dead than alive now. Jae-sung looked at Dr. Vextar. The alien doctor's shame was clear on his face. But there was also fear, not just of the Void Collective, but of something else. What are you not telling me, Doctor? Jae-sung asked. Before Dr. Vextar could answer, alarms started ringing again. But these were different alarms, not battle warnings, but evacuation signals. The station's reactor is overloading, Dr. Morden announced, reading his scanner. Someone has sabotaged the power core. The dead Jae-sung laughed. Not sabotaged, activated. This station was built with a secret weapon inside it. A weapon designed to kill beings like us? What weapon? Dr. Vextar asked, his voice full of horror. A dimensional bomb. It creates a hole in reality itself. Everything within 50 kilometers gets pulled into the void between worlds. No resurrection. Ability can bring you back from that. Jae-sung understood now. The Galactic Medical Council never planned to study us. They planned to destroy us, all of us. The station was a trap. The dead Jae-sung continued. Bait to draw the Void Collective here so they could eliminate us all at once. But they did not expect you to wake up so soon, or to be so strong. Dr. Vextar dropped his weapon. I did not know. They told me it was for medical research. They said you would help save lives. Maybe you did not know, Jae-sung said. But now you have a choice. Help us stop this bomb or let everyone on this station die. The dead Jae-sung tilted her head. Why would you save them? They experimented on your people. They planned to kill you. Because that is what humans do, Jae-sung replied. We protect people even when they do not deserve it. For the first time, emotion showed in the dead woman's black eyes. I remember that feeling. From before I died, too many times. You can remember it again. Minju said gently. You do not have to be dead inside forever. The dead Jae-sung looked at her for a long moment. Then she turned to her soldiers. Help them stop the bomb. Save everyone on this station. But Commander, one of the Void Collective soldiers protested, our mission was to retrieve the humans and eliminate the alien threat. The mission has changed, she said firmly. We save everyone or we save no one. Working together, the living and the dead raced through the station's corridors toward the reactor core. Dr. Vextar led the way, his medical knowledge helping him understand the station's layout better than anyone. They reached the reactor room just as the countdown reached 10 minutes. The dimensional bomb was a sphere of twisted metal and energy floating in the center of the reactor core. Reality bent around it like heat waves. How do we stop it? Ko Daewon asked. Dr. Vextar studied his scanner. Someone has to get inside the reactor chamber and manually shut down the sequence. But the radiation levels will kill anyone who goes in there. Except me, Jae-sung said. And me, added his dead counterpart. They looked at each other, the living human and the dead one, two versions of the same person from different realities. If we both go in, the dead Jae-sung said, we might be able to absorb enough radiation to survive long enough to stop the bomb. Jae-sung nodded. Let's do it. They entered the reactor chamber together. The radiation hit them like a physical force, burning their skin and making their bones ache. But their resurrection abilities kept them moving even as their bodies began to die. Working together, they reached the bomb's control panel. The dead Jae-sung used her technical knowledge while the living one provided the strength to manipulate the heavy controls. With 30 seconds left on the countdown, they shut down the dimensional bomb. Both versions of Park Jae-sung collapsed as the radiation finally overwhelmed them. But this time, when Jae-sung died, he did not come back alone. The dead version of himself merged with him somehow, bringing her memories and experiences, but also her hope. When he woke up 3 days later, Jae-sung was different again, stronger but also wiser. He remembered 2 lifetimes now, one where humanity had fallen, and one where it still had a chance. Dr. Vextar was waiting beside his bed. The alien doctor looked older and sadder than before. The Galactic Medical Council has been dissolved, Dr. Vextar reported. The other alien governments were horrified when they learned about the experiments and the bomb. There will be no more testing on humans. What about the other Void Collective soldiers? Jae-sung asked. They left after you saved the station, but their leader, the other you, she left a message. She said that as long as humans remain human, there is hope for both realities. Jae-sung sat up slowly. His body felt normal now, not enhanced like before. The resurrection ability was still there, but it felt balanced. What will you do now? Dr. Vextar asked. Jae-sung thought about it. He had been running from his past for so long, but now he understood that some things were worth fighting for. I think I will stay in space for a while, he said. There are other humans out here who might need help. And there are aliens who need to learn that we are not weapons or experiments. We are just people trying to do the right thing. Dr. Vexitar smiled, the first genuine smile Jae-sung had seen from him. I would like to help with that if you will let me. Jae-sung extended his hand. Partners? The alien doctor shook it with one of his 4 hands. Partners. As Nexus Prima continued its journey through space, now as a symbol of cooperation instead of exploitation, Park Jae-sung looked out at the stars and felt something he had not felt in years. Hope.